Excuse me, are you Adam Graham?
The very same. And this is my old-time radio snack wagon.
Welcome to the old-time radio snack wagon, where we serve up a bite-sized portion of old-time radio. And now, here's your snack wagon host, Adam Graham.
Today's snack is a mix of the obscure and the incredibly famous. The Police Athletic League of New York is a 110-year-old charitable organization that began with the Play Streets efforts in 1914. It was fully formed into the Police Athletic League in 1936 to organize clubs and athletic activities to keep New York City's truants off the streets. While budget cuts threatened the PLL funding towards the end of the war, after World War II, Mayor William O'Dwyer pledged 100% support to the program, and it thrived and grew. It has changed and evolved and continues to help at-risk youth to this day. Yet, what's far less known is that during the post-war era, the PAL had its own half-hour radio program that went out every week over WOR radio with heavy involvement from PAL kids, with some notable adult guests. Today, we're serving up a segment from the Police Athletic League program from January 4th, 1947, when a lucky group of PAL baseball players got to interview a very important subject. There are few figures who have cast a bigger shadow over the game of baseball from the first half of the 20th century than the Yankee Clipper, Joe DiMaggio. Baseball is a game of numbers, and there are many that speak to his greatness. His .325 career batting average, his 3 American League Most Valuable Player awards, his 9 World Series rings. But the most stunning number is the 56 consecutive games he hit in safely back in 1941. It is a record that will never be broken, never will even be challenged. At the time of this interview, DiMaggio was coming off his first post-war season after serving 3 years in the U.S. Army Air Forces. Here now is the Police Athletic League program.
You know, almost any Saturday afternoon during the baseball season when the Yankees are in town, you'll find a couple hundred to 1,000 PAL baseball fans right there in the stands. When Joe DiMaggio pulls one way into those left field seats and makes one of those patent DiMaggio running catches in the far reaches of center field, the loudest and the longest cheer come from our PAL delegation. Well, Joe is giving us a good start on the new year by coming over to answer the questions of the PAL baseball expert. We'll see if we can give Joe a good start on the new year with an appropriate reception. That's the idea. And now for the next few minutes, I'm going to call balls and strikes while Joe answers the questions. The hit sign is on Joe, and here come the questions.
We're all Yankee rulers, Joe. And the first thing we'd like to know is, are the Yankees going to win the pennant this year?
Well, that started me off with a tough one, all right. However, I think the Yankees will be right up in there. We have 2 teams to beat, and I think that's the Boston Red Sox and the Detroit Tigers. However, we could have a dark horse. I know we have a lot of rooters here of different ball clubs, but we'll be in there plugging.
I saw you play twice last summer when I went to the stadium with the PAL. You always go in the right direction for a fly ball. How can you tell so quick?
Well, I don't know. After last year, it looks like I have to have a little more practice. But that's something I acquired when I was a youngster. We did an awful lot of playing around there with the boys, and we didn't get enough practice. I say that. We were out there every day, or as much time as we could spare, and had somebody hit fly balls out there and see if we can get a quick jump on the ball. As a matter of fact, we used to have little arguments of who has got the best jump on the ball, and that's what we did. We just practiced an awful lot.
Mr. Maggio, I notice you always stand at the plate with your feet wide apart. Is that a good idea for us to follow?
Well, not necessarily. I wouldn't say that. Because I stand with my feet far apart, you take a fellow like Williams who stands close, he keeps his feet close together, and he gets twice as much effect out of his drives, I would say, than I do. But I would say this to you fellas, to take a comfortable stance at the plate. Balance yourself and take a light bat or a bat that feels good to you. And that way, you have no obstacles to overcome. You feel comfortable, that's the way you should stand at the plate.
Joe, do you always swing for home runs every time you bat?
Well, I guess a good deal of us do swing for home runs, but it's not a good policy. I'll tell you why, because you hit a home run when you least expect it. But you'll take ball players, they want to see how far they can hit a ball. But I would give you a little bit of advice on that and say to try to just meet the ball on the good part of the bat, and you'll find you'll get just as much distance.
We like to play baseball better than any other sport. Did you practice a lot when you were our age?
Well, as I said before, you can't get enough practice. The more practice you get, the better you're going to be. Even today, ball players, myself, I'm out there in the mornings 2 or 3 hours before a ball game, chasing ground balls or fly balls, and when I go into a slump, I try to get a little extra batting practice, trying to hit the ball right on the nose so I can get some line drives and trying to bat myself right out of the slump.
Joe, is there any special rule for training that you could tell us about?
Well, there are a lot of rules, but I think there are a couple important ones. To eat well, and one other thing is to get proper rest. As a matter of fact, when I was a young guy, we used to have fellows like Joe Cronin give us talks, and he told us to take the older people's advice on how to play the game. And you know you can't go wrong when you listen to fellows like Cronin, Lefty O'Doul, and Bucky Harrison, fellows like that. And you fellas should do the same thing because I think they have played the game a little bit longer professionally, and they can give you an awful lot of tips.
Mr. DiMaggio, were you scared the first time you played before a big crowd at the Yankee Stadium?
Well, I wasn't exactly brave. I tell you, when I played out in the Coast League, we didn't play to crowds like we did up here. What scared me more than anything else, I think, was the size of the stadium and other ballparks. However, 50 and 60,000 people, when they let out a roar, you could hear it all over the ballpark and maybe for 4 or 5 blocks after that. It is quite a thrill, though, more than it is being scared.
Say, Joe, who's the toughest pitcher for you in the American League?
Oh, boy, I've had many a tough pitcher. But the one that stands out in my mind is a fellow named Mel Harder, who is pitching for the Cleveland Indians. I think he's pitching relief pitch now. However, he doesn't have what we would say as much as Bobby Feller. His fastball is not quite as fast. He doesn't have as good a fastball or curveball as Bobby Feller or some of the fellows in the league. But every time he throws his glove out, it seems like he's got me 0 for 4.
Did you play in an amateur league like the PAL when you were our age?
Yes, I've played in many an amateur league, but the one like the PAL, I would say, is the San Francisco Boys Club, which is out in San Francisco in California, and I played with the Boys Club in our district. We had several teams consisting of 110 pounds, 145 pounds, and 175 pounds. I was 11 years old, and I played on a 110-pounder, and I want to say I got my early training there, and it certainly was very helpful to me today.
Joe, did you ever hit one into the new section in the left field bleachers in the stadium?
Yes, fortunately I did. I will say that there has been 3 hit there. Greenberg was the first one to hit one, and I was playing center field, and when I saw that ball hit, I said, gee, that's quite a wallop. I'd like to hit one like that myself. Well, the following week, I managed to get a hold of one and hit one right there, exactly in the same spot, and a week later, I got very lucky and hit another one. So there's been the 3 hits there, and I'm very lucky to have hit 2.
Well, we certainly thank you for being here today, Joe DiMaggio.
Welcome back. DiMaggio's 1947 campaign would see him once again win an MVP award, and the New York Yankees would win yet another World Series. DiMaggio maintained his answer as to the toughest pitcher he faced when he retired, and the stats bore him out. He batted .229 against Mel Harder in his career. Against Harder's Hall of Fame teammate Bob Feller, DiMaggio hit .342 with 11 homers and 46 RBI. DiMaggio retired in 1951 but remained a cultural icon for the rest of his days. The song Mrs. Robinson featured the famous line, "Where have you gone, Joe DiMaggio?" Once in a restaurant, Neil Simon worked up the courage to introduce himself to DiMaggio, who asked, what he'd meant by that line, as everyone knew where DiMaggio was. Simon explained what he meant was where had all the heroes gone. More than his numbers, DiMaggio's place in the game's history and the fondness with which he's remembered come through in this interview as the superstar offered down-to-earth advice on how to play the game right. And these young kids mattered. DiMaggio was once asked why he went all out on every play, even if it didn't affect the game's ultimate outcome. He responded, "Because there's always some kid who may be seeing me for the first time. I owe him my best." DiMaggio retired after an injury-shortened age 36 season, in which he won yet another World Series ring and was also named the All-Star team. He said simply, "When baseball is no longer fun, it's no longer a game, and so I played my last game of ball." It was a simple and dignified exit, and it's why he's fondly remembered, even by many who never even saw him play. It's time for me to close up the old snack wagon, but don't worry, we'll be back with another serving of old-time radio goodness before you know it. If you want to enjoy some of our longer-form podcasts, you can feast away at my website at greatdetectives.net. Your emails are also welcome at adam@snackwagon.net.
The Old Time Radio Snack Wagon comes to you from Boise, Idaho. Your host is Adam Graham. Sound production is by Rhines Media, LLC. You can listen to past episodes of the Old Time Radio Snack Wagon as well as connect on social media at our website at snackwagon.net. Email suggestions for episodes to adam@snackwagon.net. This has been the Old Time Radio Snack Wagon.
Until next time, goodbye.